Good morning, everyone. And what better way to start this beautiful morning with a session on meditation from Padma Bhushan Daaji. Am I right? That's the way you say it, which means Chacha in Gujarati? Or
Daaji means Chacha.
Okay.
Father's younger brother.
with your actual name, Kamlesh D. Patel, who's also president of the Sri Ramchandra Mission, based currently at the headquarters in Hyderabad. So welcome, Daaji, to this wonderful session. And let me begin by, I was very struck by the fact that you trained as a pharmacist.
Yes, sir.
Then you went to New York, married and went to New York. There you set up a flourishing pharmacist business or pharmaceutical business.
Yes, sir.
Sired two sons
Correct.
who now look after the business.
Correct.
At the mid-40s, you gave up all that, came to India and went into meditation and spiritualism. What, was there an awakening? Is enlightenment immediate? Suddenly you feel, I've lived this life normally for 45 years, all of us have done that, and I just want to give up everything and go. Is that what happened to you?
No, I haven't given up anything. In fact, I have integrated spirituality in my materialistic life, and I embraced spirituality when I was almost 18 and a half years of age during my college years.
So why didn't you just say, okay, let me have an early start. Why do all this? Go there, earn money, have children, and come back.
I didn't know I was to become the master of the system then, see. It was all under preparation, and preparations are necessary. Having completed my studies, I went to US, started business there, and practiced spirituality intensely. At the same time, I was running well-earning other businesses in New York and New Jersey. And then sometime in 2011, I was surprised by a guru's desire. He says, you have to take up the work of spiritual rejuvenation throughout the globe, and I appoint you as my successor. That came as a surprise.
You didn't ask him why?
No. And
why me?
that question arises now. Why me? And because I'm also in search of my successor now.
Oh, okay.
So,
any volunteers here? Or you choose?
And one has to fly and with both the wings as far as this system is concerned, that you cannot lead a materialistic life exclusively. That will disable you at a spiritual level. And if you go into spirituality also so much, you are unproductive to the society and for yourself and your family. So like a bird flies with two wings, human life has to be carried on with two successful wings of life, material and spiritual. They have to be integrated.
So for someone like you who straddles, I would gather, both worlds, there is a materialistic world that you still have one leg on, a spiritual world that you put a bigger leg or larger foot forward. What are the key things that you would say for people like us? What is it that we need to do? Do we look upon ourselves as unsuccessful because we haven't transcended some of the things that you have? Or what are the 3 or 4 things that you would say? The truths, let's call it.
You don't have to transcend anything at all. Things happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you are, let us say you take a flight.
Right.
When you take a flight, what happens? Are you still on the earth?
Mm.
You have moved on.
Yeah.
While embracing a spiritual life, it's a mental, it's a heartfelt inner experience. Like you shake a hand of someone, you are doing transaction in the bank, you are making a business deal, you are at home with your spouse, you are playing around with your children, you are learning something new. At the same time, nothing is taking your heart and mind away from the inner connect. I can always be thinking, I can always be in remembrance of my divine essence. While dealing with all these hustles and bustles of the world, you will be smiling from inside and you will be going through these waves each moment.
Now, we are not that enlightened. When you use words like divine essence, how do I differentiate between me and that divine essence? Is that a different person? Is it me? I mean, this is a little...
It depends who this me is talking. Because there are many levels of me that exists. At the physical level, what we are. At a mental level, it's a different world altogether. At a heart level, it's a different world altogether. Simple thing like when I say, I thank you, versus I appreciate, versus I'm so grateful. These are all words. There's a big difference. And when I say, I have immense gratitude in my heart for you. And when you have gratitude, you don't speak at all. It is a silent heart that simply resonates with the heart of the person whom you appreciate, towards whom you are thankful, towards whom you are grateful. So the gratitude kicks in. Now, is gratitude a divine quality, human quality, or animal quality? But they're all different. The appreciation versus gratefulness versus thankfulness versus gratitude and utter silent gratitude. They are all different levels from the same person. I can be a different person at different times. Suppose I am angry, right? Oh, that represents my animalistic nature. When I am so compassionate and say I withhold my anger and I feel sorry for the other person and I have more compassion, it's the same energy. You know, energy can never be destroyed. It's a proven scientific fact. Energy manifesting in the form of anger can be translated or changed, mutated into compassion. So many people, they ask, how to change my angry nature? So try to play games in your own life and see how you have to fake your anger at moments to make it more compassionate. Try it out like a drama.
That's the drama of life. But you use the word heart quite often. And you've written a book on heartfulness.
Gee.
What's heartfulness?
Doing things with all your heart, joyfully. Things you don't like, just say, okay, I will not do this. Suppose when you have to marry someone, suppose you have to propose someone, I want to marry you. Will it be a heartful affair? Or you're just saying, hey, I want to marry you, come on. So there is a big difference in the same statement. Or if you're in Afghanistan, you go on your horse, abduct a person and say, I'm going to marry you now. See? So there's a big difference. Either you go on your knees, or you order someone, or you coerce someone into it, or you abduct someone. These are all the same acts, but with different attitude.
So the key is
Attitude.
What? Attitude.
People worship. Day and night they worship God.
Right.
And goddesses.
You're okay with that?
I have no problem with anyone not doing it also. But while you are doing it, see your attitude. Why are you doing it? Ask yourself a question. What brings you to this worship? Why am I doing this? Why am I meditating? Why am I bowing my head in front of this holy statue of Lord Rama or Lord Krishna or Hanuman? Right? And are they the real things? Why? Am I asking for something?
Right.
In this life or afterlife? Is it because of the greed? Is it because of the fear? Or is it because I really, really, really love God, whom I worship? So there are all spectrums of
Why love
we
God?
do what.
Just a fundamental question. Why love God? Who's God?
Okay. Simply put, God is love. And if you want to become like love and want to love, you'll have to become love yourself. Isn't it? If water and oil has to be mixed, you'll have to change the properties of either one of them.
Right.
You know, Kabir, he used to say, the ultimate state of liberation is like water drops falling in the ocean, becoming one, becoming the ocean. Now, if Kabir was around, I would have asked him the question, if oil was raining will it mix in the ocean? It will float. So two things that has to merge will have to have same nature, right? I have to love because that entity is love.
And why is love so important? Because, look, we are a bundle of emotions. Hate is as much part of me as anger is, as love is, and they come natural. I mean, it's a primeval or prime sort of motivation. All these attributes come. Why should we segregate love? Why, if I'm angry, am I not in touch with myself? I'm not in touch with my heart. Why, if I'm envious, I'm not? Why is love more important
It is
than
all
that?
these emotions, gratitude, love, anger on the other spectrum. When we analyze all these things and when we center ourselves, can you center yourself and become angry? You can never become angry when you are centered with yourself. Right? When you are grateful with so much of gratitude, what happens? I'll share with you one experiment that was conducted at the John Templeton Foundation. They had 3 sets of groups. One set of group was asked not to do anything. Another set of group said, be grateful about something that happened to you and write 2 letters every day expressing your gratitude to that person. Another group, the third group, did not express, they did write down the letter of gratitude, but did not mail it. Now, when you, at the end of 2 months of research, when you measure the functional MRI, nothing changed in the first group. Second group that mailed out the letters, the activity in the prefrontal cortex, especially the medial part of the prefrontal cortex, lighted up. And those who did not mail it, it was also the same result. You mail it or not, but you felt gratitude.
Did it light up as well?
It light up as well. Gratitude is a sign of love also. And what happens at your brain level, it gets activated. That means the area which is associated with your wisdom, area that is associated with new learning, area that is associated with intuition, it all gets lighted up. So love is not, forget about God, but individually at your physical health, mental health, and emotional health. It's so important.
Let's ask a even more ABC question, as I call it.
Sir.
Why meditate? Aren't we in meditation? We are sitting here, each one doing their own thing. Isn't that meditation? Or is there meditation a special quality that says, okay, I have to sit like this and meditate?
Well, as such, everyone is meditating. If you see, as per Oxford Dictionary, not as per yoga, Oxford Dictionary says, continuously thinking about something at an estimated time, let's say 30 hours, is meditation. Okay. That way, if you're a businessman, continuously thinking of money is meditating on money. You're continuously thinking of how to murder someone.
That's meditation.
That's meditation.
Okay.
That's why in legal system they have different categories for premeditated murder versus accidental murder, isn't it? So in proper meditation, as per yogic meditation is concerned, it is when you transcend the mind. It is not the focused mind. When you transcend the mind itself and enter into different dimension, yoga calls it samadhi. There are meditations and there are meditations. You see, here with heartfulness we meditate on the heart and instantly bring about this parasympathetic activation. Heart slows down, your BP slows down, heart rate slows down, HVR slows down, and more than all that, your consciousness, it becomes so refined and you become 360-degree aware during that meditation. And more than all that, you dive deeper into your own self.
Somehow I get the feeling that we are indulging in guilty pleasure by just living normal lives. Somehow we must transcend our mind. Somehow we must see our inner self. Isn't, do we need to make people feel that they are not adequate, that you have to search for a higher self? Why can't we just be us, me? Why do we have to keep transcending?
If you really want to be yourself, you'll have to transcend from the lower self. Your real self is something else. Because this self that you're talking about, the body, the mind, it will be left here. What carries on? For example, let me share with you a story which I learned in my childhood. Father would ask a question, Bete, have you seen a newborn being delivered in this world? Then child will say, no, I have never seen. Come, I take you to a hospital. Mother is delivering a child. She is crying like crazy. She is under so much of pain. Right? As soon as the baby is delivered, baby begins to cry. If the baby did not cry, what would happen? Doctors will run around, you see, try to make the baby cry. And still baby doesn't cry. What will happen? Everybody cries. Mother cries. The first thing a soul or the life force or the Atman, you can give whatever names you like, it doesn't really matter. But there is a life force that had accompanied us from the moment of birth. It is still there with us. And it will continue till that last moment we call death. Right? Should we not be appreciative of that, feel grateful, have gratitude towards that inner entity? Instead, we keep looking for it outside all the time. The life force without which we cannot even take a next step, can't even speak, can't even see things. And we have never even expressed our heartfelt gratitude to that inner deity. Instead, we keep looking for it outside. It is insulting to me. And that real self is within us that gives you life.
So you are saying we are living schizophrenic lives. We don't know our true selves if we live normally. We need to explore that deeper self because right now we are in a state of disequilibrium in our lives.
It is true that our identification with body has become intense. We have moved away from the center of our being into ego, into intelligence, into extraordinary thinking, into physical pleasures. And going beyond body, we go into community things. Oh, I belong to this religion, I belong to this country, I am citizen of so and so. So these identifications, national, religious, communal, sectarian, all kinds of identification with physical body, LGBTQ, you name it, they take pride in all these things. Should we be proud of all these things, or should I be proud of what I have and that keeps me going? The inner force, inner life force. It is not that we want to ignore all that. But when we do pay attention to the most central force that gives us life, at least be thankful towards it and don't abuse it.
Now, is this, you've talked of pranahuti, if that's the way that it is pronounced. What is it? How different is it from, we have Sudarshan Kriyas, we have this. Is this just another a technique? Everybody comes, who's the guru, comes and says, okay, my technique is better than the others, so try this and try that. What's different about pranahuti?
Well, I like your idea of to prove something better than the other. I am a lover of science.
Right.
My background is pharmacy. Right? How they find a new molecule in the pharmacy business? Let us see. If you found something that would work for your pain, right? Okay, so extraordinary pain. You found that molecule. Then you compare it with aspirin, you compare it with paracetamol, you compare it with morphine, and then say, okay, it falls in this category,
Right.
one of the extraordinary or in the realm of aspirin. And based on that, if there are no side effects, you hit the jackpot. You launch that molecule in the market.
So we have a lot of Nirvana Saudagas then.
So now we have aspirin, paracetamol, morphine, and new molecule. Like we have Sudarshan Kriya, we have this Kriya, we have that Kriya, all ABCD, and
Right.
we have what we call heartfulness.
Right.
You can have 10 individuals with 10 groups or 100 groups of each.
Right.
And let's have a scientific experiment, measure the EEG during that meditation of each control group and see the results.
So what is the essence of Pranahuti?
Pranahuti, as the word says, pranasya pranaha. Let me explain what that means. You need to have balanced diet for your physical sustenance. You need to have some level of education to nurture your mind.
Okay.
How will you nurture your soul? Pranasya pranaha. It is Kenopanishad statement. A rishi is asking this question. Pranasya prana, chakshu cha chakshu, ear of the ear, things like that. And where will you find pranasya pranaha? Only a yogi of caliber with his willpower can transmit that. And it's not a matter of belief, experience it.
It's experiential.
Experiential. You must be able to experience here and now. It's not something that you experience after 5 years of practice or after your death. You must be able to feel that, experience it here and now. As I was saying, measuring EEG, A, B, C, D, different groups, and one group meditating with Pranahuti, check all of them with EEG probes. Machines cannot lie.
Hopefully, let's talk about artificial intelligence. Is that going to change everything? I mean, is that a new sentient being that has come up that will challenge us in terms of, we've seen what ChatGPT has done, Bard has come in. Is that going to change all of us? Do we have to touch another higher level?
But that is not consciousness, that is intelligence. You see, we have to understand the difference between intelligence and consciousness. We have consciousness of a very high order. Machines don't have consciousness. They have a trained intelligence. That's the only difference.
And so what does consciousness bestow you?
Well, according to, many scientists are, playing games and fighting and having a big debate on this consciousness. But simply put, as per our shastras, I'll come to that. To me, simply defined, it is a degree of awareness. By that,
Which you are saying AI will never be able to get, or can we build machines to that degree of awareness?
it will have some level of perception. It will calculate based on the data we feed. Right? Consciousness also means degree of unawareness.
Unawareness.
Yes. Right? You are aware of certain things. I cannot say you are in coma.
Right.
Right? But you don't have full awareness of what they are perceiving. They are perceiving something, you are perceiving something else. And that degree of awareness depends upon the level of consciousness that I am having. The great Swami Vivekananda, he used to say, when people used to ask him questions during his lifetime, what is the purpose of life? He would say, the purpose of life is simply make this available consciousness that we are playing around with, allow it to soar higher into sky of superconsciousness and let it plunge into a deep oceans of subconscious. So he's talking of broadband consciousness. He says you got to expand your level of consciousness And that is the only purpose of
So
human
you're
life.
saying AI is indulgence, it will not in any way change the way we look at ourselves? I mean,
Not
here
at
is this phenomenal amount of intelligence vested on you. You don't
Well,
have to
it
use your
will-
brains that much, you could use your brains for other things.
It will make life very interesting, the way your iPad, the phones and other things, they have made our life more luxurious so that we can do many other extraordinary things in life. We can become more creative. AI will also, I think, will facilitate such an existence on this planet. It will be extraordinary, but it can never ever substitute our consciousness. Never ever.
So we will coexist in peace or in conflict.
In peace. It depends how our programmers, they program this.
Right. Just today we had a lot of world leaders coming out saying that AI could be harmful, that it could destroy the society that we have constructed.
Knowing the nature of human being, they will try to be destructive. You see, many people say, why don't you awaken Kundalini? Then, in the words of my Guruji, I would say, Ravana's Kundalini was awakened and so was Lord Rama's. Which Kundalini would you awaken? So, what will you do with it?
Right. We have got 25 seconds. I think my colleague Bandeep Singh wanted a quick question from you. He has been wanting to answer you, but I said let's do it on this.
Guruji, when you listen to or hear about the stories of transformation of all the spiritual gurus, you get to know that it was one particular moment when something divine happened and they changed their trajectory of their lives from the normal life to a spiritual path. But when these gurus, all of the gurus, when they become, gurus per se, they are like gym instructors. They have things like, you do this particular kriya, you will go there. You do this particular sadhana, you will go there. I want to ask this thing. Is there when you are in the presence of a living master, someone like you, can there be a process where you give us a direct glimpse of our inner selves, of our reality, without having to go through the path of a very long sadhana?
He wants instant nirvana. That's what he's asking
what
for.
What I'm trying to say, that just like when a car battery dies down, you jump start it with another battery. And you as a spiritual guru are a living master. So is there a way whereas you can jump start our batteries into the spiritual path?
First of all, I'm not a guru. Okay. Having said that, I would explain to you. You are asking, I would like to read Ramayana, but I don't want to learn the alphabets. We have to learn the alphabets first. A, B, C, D of spirituality before we can accept that. I share with you my own personal examples from my own personal life. I used to believe that the master of caliber can do anything. Right? And it's a fact also. Like when Vivekananda challenged his guru, that show me, I'm looking for God, make me experience that. So Ramakrishna kept on avoiding him for many meetings, but finally he got fed up and he said, lie down, and he made him lie down in the temple, remove your shirt, and then with his left leg touching his heart, transmitted something. That gave him samadhi, and he couldn't come out of it for a very long time. And when he came out of that samadhi, he says, I want it back. Ramakrishna says, no, I cannot give you back. You have to finish this work that has been given to you. When you have finished, this same spiritual condition will come back to you. Another example from my life, I would say, I was impatient. I want it now. I want it now. That feeling was there, and I used to cry like a child. In the middle of the night, this transmission we talk of, pranahuti, started flowing in me. and I was almost passing beyond the state of samadhi and just going out, almost dying. And suddenly something brought me back. You are not ready for departure. Right? The higher level of consciousness, for that your equipment has to be, like software, has to match with the hardware. The consciousness must match with the entire body spectrum. The body's vibrations must match with the spiritual vibrations. Spiritual vibrations can be fixed by the master of caliber, but our bodily vibrations, we have to work on them. Right food, right drinks, right thoughts, right feelings, they prepare our physical.
You have your answer, Bandeep. It's not easy, but you'll have to do all those things. Unfortunately, we can't wait till eternity. We have time on our hands, and I can see we've gone 0, 0, 0, 0.
Okay,
So, Daaji,
thank you,
we are out of time, but we are not going to be out of each other. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Daaji a very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.